How's it going, vinyl community? Anthony back again with another vinyl collection video. I'm still going through a lot of my vinyl, and I'm pulling the ones that I want to share with the vinyl community, just to show what I have. So I just want to do another quick video here. I'm going to start with Grand Funk. We're an American band. I'm not going to show the inside of the gatefold because it's, I'm not even going to bother showing it, but this is an incredible album. And as you can see, it is produced by Todd Rundgren. Overall, an excellent album. Song for song, both sides of the record. You just put it on and let it play. That's how good this album is. Pink Floyd Animals from 1977. This was my dad's copy, but it's very rough. The vinyl itself has a lot of wear on it, scratched, hissy, poppy. So maybe someday down the road, I'll replace this with a better copy. I will still keep this copy here, but I'll try to get another better playing copy somewhere down the road when I get a chance. Next is Rush, Hold Your Fire. Not one of Rush's strong albums, but one that is very worth looking into. It was Rush there. Here's Kiss Destroyer. Heavy on the ring rare on the cover, but a very sought after Kiss album. Very good stuff there. Blue Oyster Cult, The Revolution by Night, one of the later Blue Oyster Cult albums, which is not great, but it is decent listening here. The first song on side 2, Shadow of California, is an incredible song. Along with most of side 1 pretty much has the good songs. Side 2, not so much. I wasn't really impressed with this album, but I mean, I figured it would be worth checking out. So if you ever come across this album, I recommend you kind of give a listen to it. Next is The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. Yeah, some title there. I like it how it's in this retro-looking album cover here. It's gatefold. The RCA dog, I believe it's Little Nipper, they call him. And there's the song list. Really good stuff here from early Jefferson Airplane. I like this album. I bought it for the purpose of listening to some of the known songs I know of, Somebody to Love and White Rabbit, but a lot of the other songs on here are very unique in their own way. So this was a pretty nice album to listen to. 38 Special, Special Forces. Great album from a great band. Once again, this is another album where it's song for song, worth listening to on both sides. Chain Lightning is it's just an amazing song. It's one of those overlooked songs, I think, but it's just incredible, that song. I always crank it up when Chain Lightning comes on. Of course, a lot of people know about Caught Up in You. It's always playing on the radio, but all the other songs on here are just great. Great album. We'll get into some Foghat now with Energized. I think this was their third album, I believe, but really good songs here. Fun album to listen to. Good old Lonesome Dave passed away about several years ago, but he led a pretty good band, Foghat. Here's Kansas Monolith. I believe this is from 1979. Very weak album, but it does have some pretty interesting tracks on here. Love the gatefold. Let me see. Yeah, it's definitely not one of Kansas's good albums. Most of side one are pretty much has the good stuff. Side two, not so much. But still, it was another album I listened to that I thought was interesting. But as terms of the whole album in general, it just didn't do very well. Now we'll get into some Genesis Foxtrot. Early Genesis. Excellent stuff here. Gatefold. There we go. It's got the lyrics, pictures of the band members and crew. Oh yes, this is I love this album. Supper's Ready, the main masterpiece on this album. Watcher of the Skies, another incredible song. So Genesis Foxtrot all the way. And next is Genesis Selling England by the Pound, another epic album from the Peter Gabriel era of Genesis. Just excellent stuff here. The Best of Jethro Tull, very unique. This is a good kind of, if you want to kind of get into Jethro Tull, this is the album to pick up and listen to. It's got all their well-known songs, and yeah, if you want to get into Jethro Tull, I recommend, if you come across this album, pick it up, give it a listen, and I think you will get into Jethro Tull after listening to this album, because it gives a very good a sampling of their songs. This compilation here, yep, very good stuff here. Styx, Serpent is Rising, their third album, the Wooden Nickel label. On the back, you've got some of the lyrics, not all. This is from 1973, and yes, it is on the Wooden Nickel label. Right there. Wooden Nickel. So that was a very, very weird, unique album, though. If you want to get into early Styx, a lot of people are not into the very early Styx, but I think if you give this a listen, you will be mind blown of what they were doing back when they were first starting out. And who would not want to listen to Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland, double LP. Yep. Good old Jimi Hendrix. Next is a band from Canada, Triumph, Just a Game. The very first album where I think Triumph started to get known. This is not the Canadian pressing that was a gatefold. This is just U.S. pressing with the Attic label and on the back, but the vinyl is the RCA label. Great album to listen to there. Next we have 38 Special, Wild Eyed Southern Boys. Their third album. No, I'm sorry, their fourth album. Now this was the album that I believe got them well known. It broke them into the radio world, and popularity became pretty big with the release of this album, and it is very good. Very good album. One I recommend, does not get passed up. This is something unique I picked up. Maxell Rock 2 sampler. If back when you can buy recordable tapes, this is kind of like a sampler of what you can transfer to cassette tape. It's got different bands here: Poco, Triumph, Daryl Hall, John Oates, Outlaws, Styx, Michael Stanley Band. And here's the gatefold. Just gives you brief stories of the songs and the bands that perform them. Somewhat unique reading while you're listening to the album. So I found this and I thought, okay, I'll pick it up, give it a listen to. There are some neat songs on here. Some songs I never even heard of before. So yeah, if you ever come across this anywhere, I recommend picking it up just to give a listen to a lot of songs you may not have heard of in a long time or never heard at all. Survivor, Caught in the Game. This is a very good Survivor album. Caught in the Game is a well-known song. Never Stop Loving You. Ready for the Real Thing. Very good stuff here. An album I recommend. Toto 4, of course. I do have Toto 4. An album that won a Grammy when it first came out. A year or so, I believe, after it came out. Good old Toto. I think this is one of those albums where I would think that almost everybody had a copy of this album. Here's Rubber Soul from the Beatles. This is a stereo copy, and it's actually in good shape. A lot of Beatles albums that have come across, a lot of these Beatles albums, especially the mono copies of their albums, go for big bucks. And this is an album where it was in a bargain bin, and I think because it's a stereo copy and it's not, I mean, first of all, it's in really good shape. There are some Beatles albums I came across and they were just thrashed. The covers were all ripped up, and the vinyl itself was looked like it was unplayable. But this album's in very good, pretty good condition. It's on the Capitol label. I take it this is one of the copies that does not have a lot of important significance for it to be able to go for a high price, but I'm not going to complain there. So, Rubber Soul, another top-notch Beatle album. Here's Surfer Girl by the Beach Boys. This is in very good condition. It's a mono copy, rainbow labels. This is one that I picked up at the store. I left the whoever wrote the information on this notepad. I decided to, the sticky note, I decided to leave on there. And there's the Beach Boys. The Doors, their debut, of course. Saw it, picked it up in very good condition. So this is good stuff there. Here's another Kansas album, Mask. This is a very good album from Kansas. This is a UK pressing. Yeah, it's got the UK labels and stuff on the label there. So this is Holland, where this was printed. So another good Kansas album I recommend listening to. Here's Tales from Topographic Oceans from Yes. Now, this album only has 4 songs, and each song takes up an entire side of the LPs. So, to tell you the truth, I couldn't listen to this whole album at one at a time. I actually had to listen to this album sporadically because they're long tracks, and took me a while to finally listen to it. This is one of those albums where a lot of Yes fans were on the fence about. It's not great, but it's unique in a way. But I think Tales from Topographic Oceans is worth giving a listening to. And of course I have Close to the Edge. This is just an incredible album. I was just blown away when I listened to it the first time. Of course, but Close to the Edge and You and I, it's just incredible stuff here. Definitely one of the albums you need to have in your collection. One that you should never pass up. It's just such a mind-blowing album from Yes. Yes, I am a Rush fan, and this is my favorite Rush album, Moving Pictures. This is a 180 gram re-release. But I figured I love the album so much, I bought it brand new. That's when I only buy brand new albums. If it's an album I really want and I really like it, I will attempt to buy it new. 180 gram. They did a pretty good job with this album on the 180 gram. So I will say yes. I love Rush, Moving Pictures. It's my favorite Rush album out of them all. I just can't stop listening to this album. It's just so great. Here's Survivor's Vital Signs. Very, seems to be a popular Survivor album. Well-known songs on here, I Can't Hold Back and High on You. And I think another singles off of this was, I believe The Search Is Over, Everlasting, and it's the singer, not the song. There's all the songs on this album are good. Another Survivor album I recommend listening to. And finishing off with Kansas, Leftovertures, my dad's copy. I know the cover's pretty beat up. Yeah, it is pretty beat up. And it's on the Kirshner label. Definitely for their fourth album, this was their masterpiece. I know some will say Point of No Return is their masterpiece album, but some will say Leftoverture is their masterpiece album. But I will say I had more enjoyment listening to Leftoverture than I did with Point of No Return. But other than that wraps up this video. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and there will be more to come. So I'll see you guys next time on my next video.